A big old Tourmaster. That's where you can barely see it on the side there. Tourmaster, you can hardly see it. We got some issues. It's gonna get a new roof. Right now we're working on the slides. And then we've had gaskets replaced. You know what they did it on both sides. Somebody took the gasket and bent it up and said it's supposed to come up, this one go over it. So you got a big hole here. So now we got some leaks. It's all leaking here. Here's your great factory stuff right here. Check it out. We call that El Rote. El Rote. We got a rolly R. We're gonna rip it up, get some new decking on there, and then we're gonna put a metal roof on here and be done with it. I don't have to worry about it again. That'll solve the problem. But the rest of it's, we'll get it back in here and do the roof after a while. So, all right, onward and upward. So what I did, that piece you see right here, that aluminum piece, the roofing goes up underneath it. That's what they use to cinch the roof down. But it wasn't even sealed.
Careful, you're about there.
It's not even sealed. So this particular roof membrane is a TPO, but it's called a fleece back. That's what that is. So you can see the whole deck's rotted. So now what I'm looking at, I don't know if you can see it on camera. It looks like you may be able to. You can see it widens out and it comes back. So I want to see if there's anything we can do to kind of fix that problem. And obviously you can see this is all rotted. So, this is just a ply foam roof, so what's underneath here is just, you can see the foam right here. There may not be enough strength in this thing. I'm going to find out here as soon as I strip it all apart. So we got this metal frame right here. Let's see if there's another one down. Yep, there's one right there. I don't know if there's one in the middle. Doesn't seem like it, but that's where the gapping is, right here in the center. So we'll explore that in a little bit. Let's take a look inside. This has turned out to be more of a mess. You can see we pad everything down to protect everything, but obviously there's a ceiling. This is all rotted and it's soaked in there. This is, that in itself is just real wet. All this is all wet. So, see how bad that is. So we're gonna take all this out because it's that bad. It really soaked through. This has been a leak for a long time. All right, well that's what we're gonna try and do. It's all the way through, so we're just removing everything. You can see it's got terrible mold in here. So we're gonna spray it down. We give it a couple of licks just to make sure, and then we'll get it apart, tear it all apart, get cabinets down, light, everything. The whole assembly's got to be rebuilt. So we got the ceiling out, and now we're trying to rip it all apart. So some of it's stuck right there, but all this is all rotted. The other end's rotted. So we're going to just rebuild the whole thing. So you see they had this is their structure they had in here for support, but there's nothing in the middle really. And we're going to take a look at that and see if that's an issue. And obviously we're going to rebuild the whole thing. We'll put in some other foam. And we're just going to redo the whole thing. Just do it all at once, get it done right. So we got it all cleaned up, as you can see, and I put some extra supports in there. So we got it all glued up. We're ready to tack her down. Alrighty, we have got the frame all done. You can see that. New foam, all glued in. Everything's all glued. They normally do not glue all this together. I added some more framing in there. Then that strip right there so we can screw the cabinet to. We got some wires running down. Had to put a plate here. That's what the lamp is going to screw to, so we need something stronger than just that sheathing I'm going to put on. And obviously it's got protection in there. You need to have all that. Do the same over here. You need to have all that. You don't want to pinch a wire or anything. And then to make sure that, now there's going to be screws that go on the top of here. I want to make sure we don't get any screws in there. So there's a piece of conduit going through. And then I have this protector to protect the wire from the conduit. So I'm going to get some sheathing on this thing. And you got Frank in the background. Can't get a better day than this. Get it all sheathed. Now we got to get the fabric on it. All right. All done. Now we got to get it set in there. And she be ready to go. I got to make the metal for the roof too. And it'll be done. All right, inside our Tourmaster. We had some issues. This was rotted. The wall, so it was all on the top, all rotted. You can see we tore it all out. We got new sheathing going in there. Got another piece going down here. We're not going to wallpaper it or paint it. They're going to do all that, but we just want to make sure that everything else, there's no rot in there. So that's why we did it, because it was that bad. Once we get that in, get the roof. I showed you already got that panel already done, and then we can get it assembled. Get the trim back. Alrighty, so now this is the passenger side slide that we're working with. We got the roofing off. You see this here. This is called felt. Basically, the fleece back is really what it is. It's a fleece back TPO that was on here. So we're going to be putting a metal roof on it anyways. So it's not too bad. A little bit of T-lam, but it's not going to hurt any structure. So we're going to have that whole sheet of metal on there. We'll just pull up what's flaky like this. We're going to glue it all back down together, and the metal will add the strength back to it with the adhesive. So we'll probably be alright with that. The other side's a little worse though. Alright, so this one up here is the one we already did. That one way up there. And this is the driver's side now. So this is the one we're working with right now. We got to put some new sheathing on that one. So that's all foam that you see, the white, that's all foam. We're going to reskin it. Then we're going to put the metal on it. Alright, so we have got this slide roof on. That's all metal. So now you're never going to have any issues with it. It's done. And then the other side over here, we had to replace some wood on that slide. Well, we got it closed up, but we already put that one on. So now what we're doing is just along the sides. I'll have to show you. I'll get the camera down there and show you what we're doing there. Then I'll show you the rest of the roof. All right, so I was going to try to show you the slide outs, what we did. I'll show you afterwards. But basically, we put another piece down the bottom, and it goes on the way on the bottom. It's got an angle to it, so when the water hits the side of the coach, when it's open on the side of the slide, the water is forced to go away. I'll show you all that later though. So we're not going to come on down here. I am going to put gutters on, but we're not going to come up to here. We're going to terminate the roof, so we're going to cut it back. We're going to save this so we don't have to put a shoulder on because it's all painted. And we'll weld the roof on the top like we've done the others. But you can see this is your typical, you know, moron type, you know. That's what the RV industry exploits people's ignorance to roof systems. To put these roofs down, this is the same exact material you're going to find on a pop-up camper. It's just an acrylic. So it's just cheap stuff. But it's one sheet, sure, okay, maybe it'll work, but you can kind of see right there it's already got some fractures and everything. It's starting to take its toll. But you don't simply put, obviously this being the skylight, you simply don't just put the skylight butyl down underneath it, screw it down, and then put self-leveling over it. It doesn't work. You can see it doesn't work, because if it worked, we wouldn't have all this damage up underneath there. You can see you wouldn't have all these rusty screws. Look at all these screws, they're all rusty. It doesn't work. That's not the way a flat roof functions. It's got to have a curb, and it's got to have flashing and counter flashing to work properly. So then obviously that's what we're going to do. So right now we're just taking everything up. As you can see, everything gets marked, labeled, and so forth. All the vents, everything's all labeled up underneath there on the cover. We put where it came from and so forth, so we know exactly where it goes back in. This way we don't accidentally put a power fan that's supposed to be here over there, you know. So like I said, that's what we're doing now, taking everything up. Once we get this up, what's up underneath here is just this cheap blue one right here, right? And that's the way they normally build them. And then more than likely, I can't see all the way up underneath this thing, but my guess is that this is applied foam roof. So applied foam meaning there should be foam in there. I have opened up a few of them that on Class A's that have not been. But since it's all blocked off, it's kind of hard for me to see in there. That's a ductwork that I can see in that slot. But I'm willing to bet until you actually open it up and take a look at it. But you can see I got some rotted wood right here. So that's got to get all addressed. And it sounds hard, and so I'm wondering if it's just the sheathing right here. But if it is compromised, then it's not just water stained. If it's compromised, then obviously it's got to come out and get repaired. So, like I said, that's what we're working on. And again, we'll be putting a gutter on here. It needs to have a gutter. I don't know why. I mean, this is a gorgeous coach, and I'm sure this thing is, you know, 300,000 if not more. Why would they not even give them gutters? Let all that water run down onto the nice paint. This is all painted on. Why would they do that? Cheap, cheap, cheap. You know, for what you pay, you can't afford to put gutters on here, really? So that's just the way the RV industry is. They don't care. Whatever's cheapest for them, and I show it time and time again, whatever's cheapest for them, they're gonna do. So again, this is not the right way to do it. And they will tell you that, hey, you know what you need to do is just keep putting more of that product on. And that's why I joke around and I say, hey, the only one's putting more on is a moron. I mean, there's something wrong with that system. You know, it's kind of like going and buy tires, and you bought some tires and shake the salesman's hand, and hey, thank you very much for your business. Hey, by the way, you're gonna have to fill those things up with air every 3 to 4 months because you're gonna go dead flat. You're gonna be like, no, I don't want those tires then, right? I mean, that just doesn't make sense. Shouldn't have to go through all that. But they know this caulking fails, and instead of reformulating it, what they do is just tell you to keep putting more of it on. So the UV light keeps breaking it down and breaking it down, but they don't want to reformulate it because it's their cash cow. It's the revenue for them. So like everything we're going to do is we're going to be put on is going to be commercial. Everything is going to be literally a commercial roof by the time we're done. It's just going to be scaled down so everything fits, forms, and functions properly for an RV. So, all right, well, let us get to work. All right, so we've got some of it off, and it is applied foam roof. So what applied foam roof is just foam right here, up underneath the sheathing, foam. On the other side, when you go inside, you'll have plywood for the ceiling, and then it's laminated to this foam. This is obviously the roof side. Sandwiches it, a piece of foam in there. That's why it's called ply foam. So all this delam, this is the lamination. So what the lamination is, look at the grain, it's going this way. This is grain's going this way. See the waves in it? That's delaminated. Laminated meaning glued together. So this is delaminated, delamination, okay? So when something separates. So plywood is made up of plies. So you get this one, and you have this other one here. So you have one underneath that's going to be going, the orientation of the grain goes this way, and then the other one will go this way, and then the other one will go back this way, right? That's what locks it all. That's how you get all your strength, because the grain's trying to fight against each other. And that's where you get your strength of the wood. So there's a little schooling on plywood. That's how it works. So obviously anything delammed, we got to go. Anything that's wet, we got to get dry. And then we're going to go in here and make sure everything is okay. Looks like I got some damage here. We're going to have to look at here. So yeah, we got some rot for sure. Some of the other ones I showed you earlier, I don't know if they're actually rotted or if they're just, if it's just water damage. If it's water damage, I don't usually worry about it. No sense in beating up a wallet just for, you know, some staining that you're never going to see. As long as it's not moldy or anything. Obviously, you want to make sure none of that's going on. And then, but we're going to spray it all down with mold kill and everything. But we'll peel all this up, and then once we get all that, we'll figure out how. This had no gutters either. Didn't have any gutters. So we're going to try to probably salvage this. If I don't salvage it, I'll put another piece on here. I got to see how it wants to play out. Sometimes it turns out to be more of a pain in the butt than it's worth, and I'll just tear it up and I can put another piece, a shoulder on here, instead of trying to work around something that doesn't want to be worked around. So, and that's, like you said, we got to get all this out and get it all glued back up underneath on this other side. So if this is in the way, I'll just tear it off, and then we'll figure it out afterwards. The only reason I was trying to hold on to it is because it was already painted. So that was the only reason. So, but I just thought it looked better and kept the coach kind of complete looking. So this is just sawdust, that's all it is, but the paint's still there. Alright, well let us see what we can do. We'll peel, like I said, peel the rest of this up and show you what's underneath it. Alright, so we got the decking coming up. And we got some areas that are rotted. Like the ones I showed you already. So we got to take this out. And probably over there the skylight looked like it had some issues. And then we'll double check around here. Some of it again looks water stained. So then we got this over here. Let's see. So right here we have there's the air conditioner right here. This has a basement air, but it has one rooftop mount right here. So we're probably going to put a truss right in here. It needs to have a truss in here to carry that. But otherwise, the rest of the roof looks really well. Meaning, like it's not sagging like a lot of the other ones I've seen, these pipe ones. So I don't think we need to go ahead and start putting all those other trusses in. Just a couple here to carry this weight. That is something that we need to do. And then fix some of the framing. Get rid of some of this rusty old metal. Replace all that. Clean it up. And we should be able to get this thing redecked. Then we had this hole right here. You can see that there. It doesn't do anything. There's nothing in there. Nothing in the ceiling. There was nothing there. It was just up underneath all the decking. So I'll figure out what we're going to do with this big satellite or whatever if we're going to put that back. Alright, let's move on. Alright, so we got this all stripped off. We were ready to redeck it. Everything seemed fine. But then we had some moisture in here. I don't know if I can get that out. It might come out on the board. But we had some moisture in here. I don't know if you can see that wet spot right there. That's kind of wet. So we've been trying to dry it out. We were hoping we could. Moisture, so right now this one's reading 18.2. And foam is supposed to have 0.
I was reading 27.
What do you got over
26.
here?
Just an inch down, it's about 26.
Yeah. So we're probably going to have to pull this piece out and see what's going on. But this one's saying 21. Yeah. Yeah. There's nothing there. I think it might have been something on the end of the electrodes there. Yeah, that's fine.
Whoa.
But it's
Where are they trying to go?
But anyhow, we're going to have to try to get this situated because we can't put it down with moisture inside there. Same thing over there. It's got the same moisture problem. But this one is too much. Foam doesn't hold any moisture. So, but when we go back over, where was it?
Anywhere in this area.
Oh, anywhere in this area. Now, if that was wood, that'd be a different story, but not foam. Because that means there's more in there. So that's what I'm concerned about. That one's not bad on that piece. It's just this section over here where the this was the skylight where it was all rotted. But if we can't get that moisture out, it'll never come out. So that's what we're trying to do. See just how bad it is.
It's dry underneath there.
Yeah, on that side it is. So we got a couple sections we got to try and get dried out. As soon as you jump over another couple inches, but if it's all pooling in here, we got to figure something out for it. All right, well that's a hold up on this. So we've had these on here for a day at least, and it's not getting any better. So let's move forward and take it out and redo it. All right, this is what we got to do. So all that water got down. You can still see how wet that is. That is not. That's not good. That's soaked. I don't know if you can see any of it coming off of here. It is wet. So, and it travels all the way over there. So when we hit it with the meter, like this one had 19, so we got to check it. Because once it gets in here, it will never dry out unless you open it up. It won't dry out. So when you say, hey, my coach don't leak, I don't see any leaks, that doesn't mean it's not leaking. It just means you don't see the leaks yet. Because it'll soak in, and then this roof deck will suck it up. And then when the roof deck sucks it up, wicks it up, and then the curb, in this case, the curb got rotted, and then it went down, and then the ceiling is starting to soak it up. So you got all this damage going on before you see it inside, and that doesn't sound too bad. So it's traveled. So we gotta do some ripping up here and get some more foam in it. That is a little bit of a task. But like you said, you never get rid of it. No wonder you do get mold up inside there. Yeesh. Let's see what we can do. So that was the passenger side I was just showing you. This is the driver's side. So we took a reading here and it was like 19 or something. This is now 17. 17, I don't know. Watch this. And all I did was just take out that little 1-inch notch. And so it's wet down in there. So that's got to come out. That is wet. Doesn't seem like much, but foam is not supposed to hold any moisture. And now we're curious on how much it's gone under the ductwork. So we're plugging away. Look at how much we had to take out. That is quite a bit. That's what, about 10 feet or so. So this is the problem. That means overload. That means it's soaked. That ceiling panel was soaked. If we didn't pull it up, it would have stayed in there. We've had this coach for a while, so if it was going to dry out, it would have dried out for a long time. You know, it would have already been dried out, is what I'm saying. But it's like that. You can see this right on the other side right there. That's all wet. There's a whole bunch of wet spots. So we got to get some air in here, and then we have to put some mold kill on it, dry it, and then we can go back and start putting it together. And then this is a ceiling, so I don't want to take it apart. So what I'm going to do is laminate everything all back together, leave that skin there. That's what I'm going to try and do. I'll take off what's loose, and then the rest of it I'm going to glue all back together, all this crummy stuff. But if you start going any further, that's the actual ceiling. So I could poke a hole right through the ceiling there, so we don't want to do that. That would be a big, expensive job. So we're going to try to see if we can just work it this way. So we had to take out, that's the AC trunk line. That is over there. So we got all that. And like I said, we're just at, now we still got that piece of foam that's under the trunk line. That's where he's standing up over there. And there's just too much moisture under there. We have to get it up, get it dry. Alrighty, so dried everything off. And then what we did is we glued some new foam in there. And that's what we're doing now. So we had to cut a trough right here for the air conditioner because it'll have to sit on top of there to give it that angle. So we got to make a notch and fit it in. This is a different type. This is an EPS foam. This is ethyl polystyrene. This is isocyanate. Two different type of foams. This is a commercial grade. This is low budget grade. So on all commercial roofs you'll see this product. This is a closed cell. There's an open cell. So look at there. All this fine education you're getting. This is a lot stronger. That's why I like using it. This is a structural grade. That is not. Anyhow, so we got all that. Now all we're going to do is piece it in. Once we get it all pieced in and get everything back, then we can get the decking on here. Looking good. Okay, so we've got everything all glued on this side. Passenger side already glued and obviously rolled out. You can see we got this driver's side we have to just roll out. We got all our strips in. We got new shoulders that we had to put on here because the other ones were bad. So we got them on both sides. New shoulders on there. Then we're going to roll the roofing over here, and we may have to possibly do a decal or something, but those shoulders were, that acrylic is what they had on here. That acrylic they folded over and they just painted it. So we couldn't salvage that. So it's glued, screwed, everything's all glued, decking all glued, everything's all glued down and looking good. So now all we got to do is roll it out, start getting our curbs on, and reassemble this roof assembly. So once we get the roof all rolled out like we did, now we're going to go over it with this big roller, a big heavy roller. Pack her down, pack her down. Get nice and tight. We are done with our Tourmaster. Put some new LED lights in the back here. So we got those on there. And then got a little stamp here. That just tells us when we did the roof, when they come back for inspections. We like to monitor and see how old the roof, see how it's performing and so forth. Also, if they ever go to sell the coach, then they can say, hey, that roof is still under warranty, you know, and then we do transferable warranty. So all that said, I mean, you saw the hot mess that we had to fix, so we obviously got all that together. You can see, you know, we put the new shoulders on and all the strips and all that. We got all that squared away, got our curbs in, we got all these welded. So we fabricate every single thing on that you see on this roof, I fabricated. So every one of them, whatever the shape, size, whatever, I'll make it, I'll build it, and we get them all heat welded in. So all of these curves are all heat welded in. Those boots on that ladder are all heat welded in. And the reason why we do them this way, these ladders, you can see, like they move quite a bit. So when they do, the base of these things, what'll happen is it'll start leaking down inside there. So because they just got those little pegs on there, and then it starts leaking there. And after you put that self-leveling and it breaches. So that's why we make these boots, and everything's all heat welded in. All these curbs are all heat welded in, so you don't have to go around and start using that self-leveling baloney. That's just nonsense. That's just the RV industry's way of exploiting people's ignorance to roof systems. That's exactly what it is. Keep putting more on, because there's no reason why you would have to keep putting that product on every, 3 to 4 times a year to satisfy a warranty, right? Because obviously the product cannot handle the UV light from the sun. It needs to be reformulated. So again, it's their cash cow. So along the edge here, we got 2 strikes of caulking. We put these on, we put the gutters on. We had to add the gutters, they didn't have them. We put the gutters on, we put 2 strikes of caulking on there. So the gutters are glued on, then they're secured on. And then, I wish I could take this all apart here, but every single screw has a little grommet, if you will, of caulking all around it. That's how we seal. I want to make sure these things are absolutely sealed. So once we screw it on there, some of that's going to burp up. We strike it down. When that cures, we put our what I call the first strike. When that cures, we put yet another strike. So we got 2 strikes on there. And the reason why I do the 2 strikes is at some time, if you've ever operated a caulking gun, when you start squeezing the trigger and start applying the caulking, you're going to hear a pop and a crackle. So what that is air that you injected in there. And it doesn't matter the brand, it doesn't matter if it's the worst product or the best product, it all goes through the assembly line and they just fill it. They just fill that cartridge up. When they fill it up, there's air in there. So you can't get around it. That's just the way they do them. So that said, when you start applying it and you get that pop and crackle, you got an air pocket there, or basically that's buried up underneath there. These coaches, they rack, they twist, they flex a lot. So if you just put that one lick on there, now this thing's racking, twisting, flexing, and that breaches. That's potentially a leak. If those little tiny leaks, it could turn into a big problem. So all that said, I put a second strike on. What are the chances of having one air pocket land on top of another? Probably slim to none. So that's why we do the 2 strikes. So again, all of these vents, everything here, when I build all these, this is your flashing, and this is called counter flashing. So this particular unit has a basement air, so that's what's really driving it. And then this one up here, that's obviously, you got an air conditioner for the front up here, and that is, as well has a counter flash that I built into all the other ones. Up underneath there is a foam gasket. So what I don't want to have happen is the water coming down here and then the wind blowing it back into that foam gasket. So this is yet another counter flash that goes below the other one on the curb. So it pushes it down and away. So we get rid of all that. Let that water just get out. That's the whole idea. We want that water to get out. So this is a wind sensor, same thing, same boot style, antenna. I made these custom ones for these here. You can see they're kind of oblong. Those look pretty good. And we put these stoppers on here. Basically, I wanted to elevate it a little bit, and we glued them all in. We just don't want any water or anything getting trapped from that. So we just elevated it a little bit so we can get around. And then we also put new LED lights up on here. The other ones were just terrible. So we replaced all those. They didn't want an antenna, so over on that side, I'll walk around and show you on that side. So this, I guess, is their Sirius radio or something, then another antenna. And then this is where one of the antennas were. So what we did is just put an A there. They didn't want an antenna on there, and they also did not want to have a satellite. So I just right there, and in the center where that satellite is, where the A is, I made that a little different color because that's exactly where the wire is. So if we had to, down the road, if somebody wanted, we can drill right there and pull that wire up without having to search it all out. So this material is a 60 mil commercial grade roofing. This is the same exact material you're going to find on an office building, a library, a restaurant. Same exact material. I get it from the same place. So this is what's called a structured membrane. I'll show you a piece of it, but it has a weave in it, and that really helps resist against hail and tree branches. So over there. So you can probably see some of the little squares in there. See that square? The little checks in there, looks like a screen. It's built into there. That's what gives it its strength. So, and this is a lot thicker. So when you go into a commercial, this had an acrylic roof, which I'm not a fan of those. Those always seem to crack and fail. But even on a membrane roof, that membrane is probably like 25 mil. Now, when you upgrade to a commercial roof, like I just showed you, those start off at 45 mil. And I upgraded it yet one more time to 60 mil. So that's what this is, 60 mil TPO. This is called thermoplastic, which allows us to heat weld everything together. So the purpose of all these counter flash right here, that's what the counter flash is now when the rain is coming, let's see, I'll back this up a little bit. When the rain is coming across in a real heavy storm, it's going to come up here and it's going to get redirected. And what that does is it minimizes erosion effect. So over time, you know, water flowing over something, you know, it's going to erode it away. Well, this is going to get rid of that wash, if you will. That's different from actual rain coming down. So, and then you can see all these screws, everything's all sealed. Everything's all sealed. You can even see we got a nice cushion of sealant up underneath there. We just didn't push it down and squash it. You know, we don't do them that way. We have a process of how we install them. So these come in 3 different colors. They come in the white, it comes in tan, and it comes in obviously gray, as you see right here. So here are the 3 colors. There's our info right there. So keep in mind, I've had some people ask, you know, can they buy this stuff? I don't sell anything here. We don't sell one thing. We don't sell any of the curves, we don't sell material, we don't sell anything. We're just a service center. So the skylight, what's pretty common with these skylights is that all this area, and you'll see when we took this apart, if you go back, or if you can remember, this whole area was all rotted out. And that was probably due to the fact that the skylight itself, caulking failed around it. But the other reason what propagates some of this is that when, especially in the winter time, when you have some frost sitting on the top here, it's also on the inside of this lens. There's frost up in there, or condensation, or moisture, right? So now the sun will come up and it evaporates this off, but what's up underneath there, it can't get evaporated out. You got the interior lens coming up here somewhere, and then you have this lens right here, right? So you got this cavity in there. Well, it can't get evaporated out. So what happens is it just, from the inside, it drools down, and then it'll hit the roof deck, and the roof deck will start wicking it up. When it wicks it all up, then that's known as dry rot, because it's not really a leak, it's condensation that's causing these problems. But when it does it enough, it can't absorb any more water, then it starts rotting. Now when it starts rotting, the screws don't hold. Now you get more leak problems, you see. So it's kind of like a dog chasing its tail. So what I did to solve this problem, no one's going to go in here, even if I put a fan or a ventilation in there, no one's going to go in and try to flip a switch every day. Flip a switch for an hour or two and go back, and no one's going to do it. And also probably wear down the battery even if the thing wasn't running, if you put it on a timer. So this is a solar fan. So the way this works is when the sun comes up to evaporate this off, that fan kicks on, and this is a draw right here. So this is the intake, and there's a chute right in here, a flume, plenum, ductwork. This will kick on. It'll pull the air up over the inner lens, and under this lens it'll pull it up and exhaust out. That's how it works. Now these are just Chinese type of solar fans, so I mean, we can't warranty that. I don't warranty skylights either. As you can see, we don't even put screws in them. These are solely adhered down. These little holes, I've tried years and years ago. I used to drill them all out, make sure there was room, but the issue with these plastic lenses is that when the sun hits them, they expand quite a bit. Now you get a thunder shower, and the thunder shower will cause it to contract. And if these holes don't have enough room for this to move back and forth for expansion and contraction, they cause these little hair fractures, right? So I don't want that to happen, so that's why we just solely glue them down now. But also there could be some other defects in here that I don't know about, because they are, the plastic is formed, and if there's an air bubble in there, then that air bubble could pop too with, again, the sun sitting on it. Now you get that cold thunder shower, and it could cause a fracture that way. We warranty that the roof in itself around here, you're not going to get any leaks. So all that said, with the exhaust fan, all that said, if this pops off, take this plumbing cap, put it on here, because this will leak into the coach, because it's an open cavity. So you need to make sure that if that pops off, or you know, if you're in this coach and it's raining out and you notice some water, immediately come up. That's the first thing you want to check. And if you can't, if it did pop off, try to rob this one, try to rob that one, put it on top of here. At least that'll stop that leak. And this, if this is off, this just goes down into the holding tank. The way I did these boots, there's no way it can leak anywhere else. It can only go into the holding tank. Same with that one over there. So this one, it can't. It'll go right down and it will get into the ceiling of the coach. So we don't want to have that happen. So that's pretty much the scope of the roof system. Pretty straightforward, but then you're done. So the way the warranty works, we'd like to see these come back no later than 60 days. I like to give people the time to kind of make arrangements for the initial inspection. I like to see them come back because then we can double check and make sure everything is okay. They rack, they twist, they flex a lot. And all of this goes back to on a commercial roof. If you do a commercial roof, you want to go back and, you know, 30 to 60 days, you want to do an inspection on, and what they call that, an initial inspection. You're going to check, make sure all your welds are good. You're going to make sure all the caulking is good. It's just smart. That's something you do. Then you come back every year, annually, and you inspect that commercial roof. So I'm just doing the same thing that I've been doing for years, because I'm not really an RV guy. By trade, I'm a general contractor. And I maintain 600 restaurants east of the Mississippi. So yes, I was running around quite a bit. But all that said, that's the way you do it, and that's the way I do them on here. So we get that initial inspection done, then they come back for an annual inspection. So we'll say, what's this now, March? They'll come back April, May, we'll say. They'll come back in May. Then they're going to get the warranty from May of 24 to May of 25. They come back May of 25. I give them a warranty from May of 25 to May of 26. Every year we renew it, okay? And one of the reasons why is, again, because it's just smart to inspect them. Sometimes you don't realize what may have happened. Maybe there's something up here that you didn't realize, and we can get it real quick. Or maybe there's something wrong with the caulking. I didn't make it. I want to catch all that before it becomes a problem and before it becomes a hot mess. And then someone says, hey, I got all this. Well, it's something we could have caught if we had seen it. So annual inspections definitely help out. Again, these things rack and twist and flex a lot. So I don't want anybody to take it for granted and think like, hey, you never have to do it. It's a super duper roof, you know. I know I do a good job, and I really do, and my guys do a good job, but still, it would be foolish to say you never have to worry about it, you're all set. That isn't the way it works. So the insert trim, this is a different type of insert trim, and I'll show it to you right here. This is obviously a white gutter, one on the coach is black, but this is your typical insert trim that they use. You see, it just slides in there. And it slides inside that track, you can see, right? It slides inside that track. What I don't like is water will come down and still get in that track, and then you get water traveling inside there. I don't like that. So I special order all this stuff. I have to buy this stuff literally 2 miles at a time. There's a whole bunch of it. And again, I don't sell anything at all. This one you can see has a groove in it. So it sits in the side there, and then it sits outside, so it locks all that water out. The other thing I like about it is when we do force it in there, you got a nice shape right here. This one, not so much. This one's a little more prominent, and the advantage to this is called a water adhesion principle, but water will follow that track and then that path and then go right in here. So this way it's going to go down here, the water will hit this, and then it'll start trickling inside there. This way you can't do that, it has to go back into the gutter. So that's why we use that. Then I showed you the roofing already. We don't quote on social media, so if you have any questions, just give us a call. There's all our information anyways right there, and there should be a card at the end of the video. And let's see, what else? Some other questions that I've gotten on here. We don't sell anything. We don't quote on social media. Just give us a call. And also, if you like the video, from what I understand, and I'm not a tech guy, I set up the channel so folks can see all the work we did. That's really the whole purpose of it. So if this isn't your coach, which it probably isn't, then at least you're getting some information, right? But all that said, again, I'm not a tech guy, but from what I understand, if you hit the like button, then I guess if people are searching for RV roofs and so forth, it just kind of do the algorithm thing, okay? So more people would see it, more people would be able to look at it and decide, hey, do I want to come here to RV Roof Install and get a proper roof put on one time, or do I want to go to the RV center and have them do the same exact thing that they've been doing on the RVs and then have it leak yet again? So So like I said, you can hit the like button. You know all about that, subscribing and all that other stuff. Like I said, I don't normally keep up with it. So other than that, we appreciate you watching. And I think we covered just about everything on here. Other than that, we'll see you on the next one. Care package. Right. So in our care package, we have caulking. We got primer. We have got 2 patches. Those are heat patches. We got a patch, peel and stick patch. We got a checker tool. We've got a magnet. And the rest of this is just pens, keychains, brush, nozzle. Okay, so if we have a hole in the roof, it will simulate a hole. You can do hole simulations. We say we got a hole there. Here's your tree branch come through and you're like, oh man, I got a hole in my roof, it's leaking. So what you want to do, and it's raining out. Right now it's raining, you're like, crap, I gotta stop that leak. You want to get in there, and if you can't get that nozzle in there, don't worry about it. Make it a little bigger. What you're trying to do, you need to get up underneath the roofing, like this. This is what we need to do, get up underneath the roofing. Then you're going to take and you're going to put this up inside there, and you're going to squeeze, 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 squeeze. Hopefully this thing is plugged up. There it goes. You just squeeze, squeeze. You want to try and get up underneath this part too. Squeeze up underneath there. Put some more underneath there. Well, we are getting this thing all boogered up. Then what we're going to do, you're going to push it together. See how it oozes out? That's sealed. You're done. This is a moisture cured product. So what? It's a hot mess. Looks terrible. Who cares? Keep the water out. So now, the next day, we're going to go up there, and that's going to be cured looking like that. So we're going to take a knife, and you just shave it down. Just shave it down with a knife. I'm just going to obviously wipe this off. Now you say, hey, I want something a little better than that. So what we're going to do is get some cleaner. This is a terrible rag. You got another one. You got one on you? Oh, get a rag, get a rag, get a rag, get a rag, get a rag. What you gonna talk about, man? Nope, just leave it alone. Oh, leave it alone right now. We're recording now? Are we on?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Alright, so now we cleaned it off with a knife. I just washed that off because it's still wet. Take that off. So now we got a patch. This is a peel and stick patch. We're going to take that, we're going to center it over there. Just take a pen and go around like this. I like to kind of put a dash like that so I know who's where, what, and where, and how. So now there's what I got. So in the package we got primer. We also have a brush. You're going to take that, you're going to go all inside the square. And you also got to go outside this square about 3/8 of an inch. Outside about 3/8 of an inch or so. Once you get that, there's a film on the back. You peel the film, now you know which side you are, see, because there's your marks. And you peel that film back. Get the fingers, fat fingers in there to get the film off of this thing. This is just a regular roof tape. That's all it is. We put them in all the care packages. Get that daggone thing off of there. Probably need some fingernails. Probably help. Come on. There it is. Okay. There it is. Now you got the film. We'll take that film. So now we're going to line it back up with this. We already got the primer under there. You just peel the film back, and as you do, you just rub it down like this. Sometimes that film will get a little stuck in there. This is just a butyl. You just kind of try to keep it as even as you can and flat as you can. Boom, you're done. There it is. So now, out here, this is where your primer is. You put the primer on there. You got primer there, and now you're going to put primer here. You want to prime all this area with your brush. Prime all that. Then you're going to come back. Once you get it all primed, then you're going to put a little bit of caulking on it, just like this. That simple. It doesn't all sit in there. You can always take your finger and go around it if you want. We're trying to obviously stop a leak and make one of, there's going to be a little more permanent of a patch than just that plug that we did when it was raining. So now that we got that all done, what the whole purpose of it is this part here. This part underneath here, that's a butyl. When the sun hits that, if you didn't have the caulking on there, it will cause it to release and curl up just like I'm doing here. And it'll start coming loose. That's why you need the primer. That's why when you prime it, you're going to prime on top of this, because nothing will stick to it. Nothing, the caulking will not stick to this patch, and it won't stick to the roof unless you use the primer. That's how you do a patch. Ta-da! All done.